Welcome to Thought Cops, coming to you live from the mean streets of Neo Chicago. I am Officer Kevin.
I'm Officer Grant, and coming to us live from Porg Street is Asterios.
Hey, don't dox him.
Well, it's on his wall right behind him.
I know, he's got his address right there behind him.
Street.
Someone sent me a license plate that said Pork Street, and now it's on my wall.
That's a license? Oh, you cut out the letters. I see.
Someone cut several license plates up into one of those ransom note license plates.
Wait a second. Do you think these people went around their city block like cutting up P-O-R-G? And these guys are like, why are there missing letters from my license plate? The cop pulls them over. Like, what is going on here? Is that what happened?
If it is what happened, I have no knowledge of it. But like, their loss is my gain.
Fair enough.
Thought to myself, and look, hear me out on this one, guys. Like, I thought like it's a nice change of pace. What if I didn't like over talk you guys like all the time this time? Because like usually when I'm on, I just like I run you guys over. Like it's I just like run you guys over with like energy. And I was thinking like maybe I'll talk and then pause.
Well, listen, Asterios, we've heard this before too.
Really?
I think you said this the last time you were on it. I don't remember if that actually happened.
Here's the thing: is actually that's an incredible disservice to us because we did very little prep work for this episode, and so usually we just go, "I'll just bring Asterios on. He'll talk for 90 minutes, and we'll wrap up, and that'll be it." So we don't have to do a lot of work, you know.
Well, I've got 2 minutes of hate to start with.
Oh,
well, listen, we'll actually, I want to address that, Asterios, because we haven't had you on since season 1 of Thought Cops. I don't know if you know this, but there's now a second season.
Yes, that's right.
It started almost 6 years into the run of the show.
Yes.
We're now in season 2. Things are a little different. Sometimes we do 2 minutes of hate if we feel like it. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we don't talk about Elon Musk at all if we don't feel like it.
You guys did briefly bring up 2 minutes of hate in episode 300.
That is true.
And this is episode 302.
It's free form.
And so I felt like
it's
all right,
shooting off the hip
in there.
Yeah. And listen, I have a 2 minutes of hate myself I want to get to eventually, but I just kind of wanted to let you know, things are different. Like, don't feel like you have to give a key to the city if you don't have one. Don't feel like you got to do any of this stuff because you know what?
You don't have to laugh at Kevin's jokes.
You don't have to, Asterios. You don't have to do that anymore. You're free.
It's a free new world. It's a brave new world.
I mean, I like you guys loosened up the show. I do.
Thank you.
It's like I
feel like part of it is you because we brought you on one time and you said, "Hey, why don't you guys talk about being 2 guys living in Chicago, hitting the big city? Why don't you talk about that?" And we went, we don't talk about that. We don't know how to conceptualize the universe outside of that show. But we've spread our wings. We've grown.
I mean, the reason that I suggested that is that my favorite episode of Thought Cops is the one where you guys improvise a college conversation about forming Thought Cops. And I remember
flashback episode,
yeah. And I remember like listening to that episode and being like, "Why isn't this the show? Like, I care way more about these guys than like, I don't know, Ice Spice." Like, I don't like. I know that Ice Spice has not Ice Spice.
She's on next week. So hold on.
I'm sorry. Look,
no, we don't want to. She's not going to listen to this. So just
Ice Spice with my little ice. Something with a straw hat.
Really quick though, it's worth mentioning though, Asterios, you are also
behind you, Kevin. You got a.
It's Luffy, Grant.
Luffy,
and I think you know that.
I don't know anything.
You've only read it. You've never heard me say it a million times.
Yeah, I do subs, not dubs, so I wouldn't know that. Yeah.
And they don't ever say it in Japanese.
No, they never say it. Yeah, okay. No, I listen with the sound off.
Okay.
You guys know about the One Piece themed marijuana dispensary in New York City that was near my old apartment, right?
No, I did not know about that.
Sounds cool.
Yeah, so like one day I'm just walking down the street, like there was like a karate dojo and like it went out of business and it's like, I wonder what's going to happen here. And then all of a sudden, big neon sign outside that says, One Piece Convenience. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. Maybe there's no way it's that. And then I look at the door and it's Monkey D. Luffy on the door saying, "You must be 18 years or older to enter." And he has like a big sword and he's wearing the straw hat.
Wait, he never uses a sword.
Old.
He's not 18.
Yes,
no, he's not.
After the time skip, he is.
What?
Well,
he's 17 beforehand, and then
the show's been on for 2,000 years at this point, has it not been?
It's been on since 1999. I think the manga's been going since 1997.
That's close.
Listen, if you're going to time skip, 17 to 19 is not that big of a skip. Like,
It's not. But they did jump ahead 2 years. Okay. So yes, he goes. We never get to see him when he's 18 though. Only 19 for some reason.
It's just weird. It's like, but all right, okay. So, but no, yeah, it's Monkey D. Luffy, and it says don't enter, and then I'm like, well, I have to enter. I'm over 18, and I walk in, and it's just it's just nonstop illegal marijuana being sold at this place. Christ. It was awesome. It was like
legal or illegal.
Illegal. No. It was Delta 9. No Delta 10, no HHC, no THZ. Because now I live out in like the country, and all like the convenience stores, they're always like, it's weed, but they did something to like one molecule. But anyway, this fucking guy makes a one-piece themed dispensary, and then Viz calls the cops on him. And they make him take down his big neon sign that says One Piece Dispensary. So for a while, it just said dispensary, and he got a $7,000 ticket from the police.
Oh my God.
For what? Because they're manga fans? Like, you can't put him up there.
It's copyright.
Are these the copyright law police?
Yeah.
He said Viz sent the police here.
Oh,
because
shit.
I went there because there was just the sign was just exposed brick, and there was no neon sign for a while. And I was like, "Hey, Mo," what was the name of the guy? Mo. I was like, "Mo, what happened to your sign?" And he said Viz called the police.
Strange, because there's a bar in Chicago that I don't know if it's still around, but it was called Mo's Tavern. It's not. Mo's Tavern isn't around. It was called Mo's Tavern. The woman who owned it was named Mo, and she had a bunch of Simpsons characters painted on the wall. And 20th Century Fox came, and they said, "You got to take this down." So she drew like mustaches on all the Simpsons characters, so they're all a little bit off looking.
Nice. And now it's closed.
Oh, yeah, now it's closed. Well, I don't like that.
COVID.
I like that
it was
place
COVID.
Too.
It wasn't 20th Century Fox or Disney or anything like that. It was just the fucking virus.
It was fucking Biden. Nobody was going to fucking Moe's anymore because of Joe Biden. Yeah.
Oh, also Asterios, I want to mention that I believe, and Grant, you may correct me if I'm wrong on this, the last episode of season 1 technically was the Asterios cut.
Yes, it was.
It was a one-on-one episode where we were lazy. We didn't have an episode for the week. We didn't have an episode that week, and you offered, "Hey, can I edit for you guys?" And we're like, "Okay." And then you flat out handed us our asses on a silver platter.
He turned it into a musical.
Miserable Mooney.
Because listen, listeners, if there's anything you care about, is Thought Cops. You're listening to Thought Cops. So I feel like I can talk about Thought Cops for a minute. Like, I would always tell them very gently. I'd be like, you guys, you don't have to talk about, like, I don't know, like, that a celebrity farted. Like, we like you. I'm like, we like you guys. Like, we like Grant and Kevin. Like, we just want to hear you guys talk. Like, you don't have to be so beholden to like the news of the day. And they're always like, "No, well, we want to do it." And like, but they're always like very polite. And then so I edited their show to just kind of like show them like that they really didn't care about the things they were talking about, and that they felt like beholden to this format. And then I think it just embarrassed them, and they were like, "Okay, we will open."
I think don't give yourself too much credit, but you can give yourself, I think, some credit, because that was like right at the tipping point of us being like,
we were in talks for a few weeks about how we should change it up, and there was a number of things that happened prior to that. But you did that episode for us, and we decided this is the end of season 1. This is how it should end.
Swan song, honestly.
Yeah.
No, it was a ton of fun, like to edit that episode, just because like it's always easier to like give someone else advice about their creative projects than to in any way fix or improve your own creative process. So like I spent like 2 days like editing and re-editing and like making little gags about this. And then it's like, when it comes to like, I don't know, clipping up my own podcast to put it on TikTok or something, I just want to go to bed. Like when it comes to like planning my own show, trying to improve myself in any way, it's like, I just can't.
Well, you know what? I think we did have to hear it. We did. It's true.
Well, listen, my 2 minutes of hate is this.
Yes.
Here's my 2 minutes of hate. Oh, they'll take the money. Oh, they'll take it. But when you want a refund, whoa, slow down here. So I'm driving to, where the fuck was I driving? I was driving up to Massachusetts to go pick up Rancho. And I was driving through New Jersey. And in New Jersey, have like, the casinos have like bought all the politicians. So at any point, you just pull out your phone and lose all the money you have on slot machines. And I was like, oh shit, I'm in New Jersey. Oh hell. So like I pulled over to a Dunkin' Donuts and I downloaded like 8 different slot machines, like Harrah's and MGM and DraftKings and all these things. And they all have this thing where they're like, if you deposit $10, we'll give you like $100 free dollars. So like my trick is I deposit the 10. I immediately withdraw my $10 before gambling at all, take their free money and walk away. Like I got like $37 from the DraftKings casino. I won $60 playing craps at a Dunkin' Donuts in New Jersey. And then the things with Harrah's. So like Harrah's is like, if you deposit 50, we'll give you 100 free bonus dollars. It's like, perfect. Deposit 50. They're like, great, we got your $50. And I immediately hit withdraw. And I get an email and they're like, due to our policy, we need a picture of your social security card.
What?
I'm not kidding. They're like, we need a photo of your social security card in order to verify that it's you. And then we'll send you your $50 back in 14 days. And I was like, oh, you're willing to take my $50 immediately. Oh, but when it comes to giving it back, I have to go over to my mom's house and open up that fire safe she has in her closet with the little key. To take a picture of my God. Where are your guys' social security cards? Do you even know?
Well, mine's also in a fire safe security deposit box, but it's in my own apartment. It's not in my mom's
I have
place.
no idea where mine has been lost for a long time. And
you can order a new one.
I was going to say, I did not know what to do about this. I just, whenever people ask, I'm like, I don't know what happened to it.
And they just go, oh, that's fine. Whatever.
Basically, yeah. Cool. I know the number in my head.
I also know the number.
So we all know the number.
Let's all say ours out loud at the same time.
5,
3,
5.
Are you guys supposed to start with 5? That's pretty cool.
3. So
5.
Yeah.
But then the other thing for me is it's like, is there another Asterios Kokkinos that lives in New York? Is there like another Asterios Kokkinos at this exact address whose first car was this and whose first job was that? Like, I know I got all the questions right. I know where my dad was born. I got all those questions right. Now I gotta fucking call 18 people in New Jersey to get my $50 fucking back.
Jesus.
See, this is where like I am broke right now, and I just don't like money that much. I don't need $50 to go through all this headache of trying to scam. You know, the casino always wins.
The house always wins. I am super duper addicted to. I am super duper interested in sports betting. For the past month, I've spent all of my time sports betting. Are
you into sports that much?
No,
not at all.
Which I think is a benefit.
What's the itch that causes the betting on the sports then? Because I've never understood that. The way Did you watch Uncut Gems and you were like, that's going to be me. I'm going to be Adam Sandler one day.
This is how he wins.
This is how he wins.
the way it happened was like a long time ago, like I don't know, a couple of years ago, like we went on like a family trip to Foxwoods Casino and Rancho came along. It was so much fun. They had a DraftKings bar and grill. And I went in there and I was like, oh my God, I can finally like not cross this one thing off my bucket list. I can finally like achieve my lifelong dream of betting on professional wrestling. Like that, I love wrestling. It's like real life anime, heroes and villains and powers and nonsense.
I keep hearing that, but I can never get into it.
They once had an anime that was a professional wrestling anime. It was called Ultimate Muscle.
And that was good.
It was good.
And I mean, isn't like my understanding of like the first season of Dragon Ball is like, it's just a big wrestling tournament. Like the idea of like a tournament arc, it's like, well, like it's like, you know, there's heroes and villains and heels and faces in wrestling. Do you guys agree, disagree? I don't know.
No, I could see that angle. Like the tournament arcs, I could see being similar
it's like
to like.
Yeah, it's like a martial arts tournament, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah, but who cares about that? Just trapping people, whatever. Wrestlers, big muscles, big personalities. There's a guy named Macho Man. You seen this guy? He's crazy. And so I'm like,
man, let me Google that.
So I'm like, you know, I go to the thing and I'm like, I want to bet professional wrestling. And it's like, oh no, you're not allowed. Apparently like they no longer allowed people to bet on professional wrestling in America because so many professional wrestlers who had advanced knowledge of the results, because it was emailed to them that morning, was bet hundreds of thousands of dollars on it would be like betting on like The Sopranos. Like,
that doesn't.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's like I feel like professional wrestling. I mean, you hear all like it's not fixed, it's not whatever, but it's like there is a storyline for it. And I guess like I forget who explained it to us on the show, but they were saying that like I think it was Garrett Hunter was saying like that they are written and prefixed and everything, but then sometimes if a wrestler gets there and feels like changing the tide on the show, they can. So apparently there's a small like variable for like a change to happen in wrestling. But for the most part, I think you're right. It's like betting on the fucking Sopranos episode. Is Tony going to kill Big Pussy today? Well,
yes.
I know a writer. Let's ask him.
I mean, the WWE has a staff of 14 television writers. It's like there's a sheet backstage that says who's going to win and lose every match. It's like, well, you have to, because they write these arcs in like over months at a time. Like the whole year is building towards WrestleMania. So yeah, it's crazy. It would be like betting on like, I don't know, the Euphoria. Like, is the girl going to do the drugs in Euphoria? It's like, should we be able to bet on this? And so I couldn't bet on it. And I was like, ah, damn it. And then like a month ago, I get an email from DraftKings and they're like, if you come back, we will give you $150 in free bets. No questions asked. And I was like, well, I literally can't lose. Like, I could just bet on the Yankees to lose and then bet on the Yankees to win. And then in one of those two outcomes, I will get some of this money. And so now that's what I do with my time instead of looking for a job or improving myself. I'm constantly engaging in something called arbitrage betting, where you go to two different sports books and you somehow get coupons and free money. And then like tonight, for example, at 3 a.m., the Women's World Cup, U.S. versus Portugal. I have $25 on the U.S. team to win on DraftKings and $25 for them to lose on the Win Casino. So, you know, 25. At the end of the thing, I'm going to walk away with like $53 or $54. I'll have made a couple of bucks. Now I just do that all day. It kind of sounds sad when I say it like that, but to me, it's real fun.
You know what, Asterios? Maybe you'll convince me to do that too, because you know I don't got a lot else going on right now. I could trick DraftKings into giving me $50.
You'll never guess, but casinos have money. They have the money to just bribe you early on to try to addict you into gambling. Like that's what they call in business. They call it like the customer acquisition cost. Like FanDuel, like they've sent me like $500 free. It's taken a lot of arbitrage betting, but it's a lot of fun. Yes, and the thing is, I don't know anything about sports, which I think is actually helpful because I'm not like, oh, the Yankees are due. It's like, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know.
Do you think that this will like get you interested in sports? Like now that you've like made it like interesting by putting a few bucks on it?
I almost watched a WNBA game the other night, and that's the closest I've ever come to wanting to watch any sport because there was an arbitrage. I made a very tiny arbitrage mistake where I bet on the New Jersey Rays to win or at least lose by 18 points. But I bet on the Las Vegas Silvers to lose by no more than 19 and a half points. So like once I was 18 and a half, once I was 19 and a half. And there was a thing where it was like, if they lose by exactly 19 points, I just lost $100. And so I was like, I want to watch this WNBA game and see if they score exactly 19 points and if my whole life is ruined. Because the thing is with arbitrage betting, it's like you're making $2 here, $3 here, $5 here. Like tonight on this women's soccer game, like I might make $11. It's like $100 would wipe out all of my hard work of not working hard at all, of just sitting and staring at my phone. And so I was like, I got to watch this WNBA game. And look, maybe this is sexist of me. I assume they'd be free on YouTube.
I don't think any sports are free anywhere anymore. I mean, they used to just be free on, you would just turn on Channel 9 and you would just be like, oh, there's the Cubs. You can't even do that anymore. They're like licensed to ESPN on a certain channel. And you can't even like fucking you can't turn on TV and watch just a game. You know, it's probably cheaper for me to just like go walk to Wrigley Field right now and just like try and like hedge my losses rather than try and sign up for whatever fucking cable package. Like,
it's really awesome how they just keep making everything even worse and worse over time.
Everything sucks. That's my 2 minutes of hate. Everything is too expensive and everything is terrible. Everything is bad. Nothing is good.
Well, let's turn back the clock for a second here. So for those of you who are listening and don't know Asterios, he's not just a guy who's addicted to gambling or, as he would say, interested in sports betting. Asterios is a comedian. He's a podcaster. He's a great friend of ours. Asterios, we want to give you a backstory on this episode, or if you could tell us, like, where did it all begin? Okay. How did you start in comedy way back when? Cue the sound effect.
What was your first joke?
I started doing comedy actually because I had horrible nightmares. Like I was young and I couldn't sleep. I still have insomnia to this day. Like I have to take like enough melatonin to like knock out a horse to go to bed. And also I need to get in bed at 8 p.m. Because if I'm in bed at 8, maybe I'll be asleep before midnight.
Have you done yoga nidra? Have you tried that?
No.
Yoga
what is that?
nidra. It's a deep sleep relaxation technique. It's a yoga technique, and it means sleep yoga.
Is that like Pokemon Sleep, the hot new game from Niantic?
No, it's nothing.
But can you tell which one might appeal to me a little bit more than the other?
The Pokemon one,
the one with Snorlax in the logo. Yeah.
Wow.
He's the perfect spokesperson for this app.
Well, I don't know if it's an app so much as it's a practice that goes back thousands of years. But no,
Pokemon Sleep is. Yeah,
I'll ask. Yeah.
Wait, you mean Yoga Nido King? Now I'm interested. So I can't sleep as a kid, and this was also the thing as a kid. It's like with TV, like now, something I don't think the younger generation will ever realize is that like we were kind of just at the mercy of whatever TV wanted to show us. Like now you can watch whatever you want all the time forever. Like you can like climb into your own little bubble. But as a kid, I'm up at 3 a.m. flipping through channels and I'm constantly seeing commercials for horror movies or just horror movies are on. Like Child's Play 5, like Nightmare on Elm Street 6, and these commercials are scaring the piss out of me. And so I'm young, and all of a sudden I started to see these commercials for this thing called a Comedy Central. They were like, there's going to be a centralized repository of comedy. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. I could just stay up all night and like watch stand-up and jokes. And then also they were like, and Cartoon Network's coming too. And I was like, that also sounds cool. And I was like,
a game changer.
Yes, I was like, there's going to be channels I can put on and they won't scare the piss out of me. And so that's kind of how I got into comedy. Like I would stay up all night watching Rosie O'Donnell in a leather jacket hosting a show called Stand Up Spotlight.
I think this is a tale as old as time. I think we've all gone through that exact same story. We all had nightmares of Rosie O'Donnell wearing a leather jacket.
She was cool. That's the thing I don't think people remember.
I know.
She was this cool, tough lady, and she would like tell dirty jokes and then bring out Dave Attell.
Well, she got into the sleeping meds and everything changed.
I know. If only she had listened to Dave Attell and gotten into being an insomniac. But so that's what happened. And so I'm watching, because then I'm watching all these stand-up, and then eventually I was like, yeah, I'll try stand-up. And I did improv and I did sketch. But podcasting is honestly my favorite because I don't like going outside and I really, really don't like talking to other people. It scares and hurts me. So like I have a podcast with my fiance where we both just like sit down at this little table and she just tells me about like the insane TV shows or movies or TikTok. She's watched that. Like she's watching the Zeus Network nonstop. And there's all these shows where the Zeus Network. It's a $10 streaming channel that is heavily targeted towards the African American community. And and all the shows on the Zeus Network are just women who call themselves baddies. Like there's a show called Baddies East, Baddies West, Baddies North.
I see that. Yeah.
This sounds great.
It's just baddies beating the piss out of each other at strip clubs. Like for real, hurting each other. And so an episode of the Loudest Podcast will just be her being like, yeah, Krayshawn chased Blue Lips Barbie in a car and then ripped her wig off and like dog walked her on the streets of Atlanta. I'll be like, I don't know who any of the people you're talking about are, but this sounds pretty interesting.
Asterios, I feel like Rancha is like, she's like a conduit into the Matrix. She has like an antenna in her head that maybe you need to cover with tinfoil sometimes, because I feel like she may be one of the most online people maybe to ever exist. I don't know how it's possible.
Aside from maybe Nico.
That's why they do a show together.
Yeah. The moment I started hearing Nico talk, I was like, "Oh, it's just Rancho." Like,
yeah. Do you remember when you came to Chicago? You were doing your tour, and we all linked up and we did a show together. And then afterwards, we were eating at that kind of crappy Greek place that was like across the street. And they started talking to each other, and it was like the meeting of the minds. It was like I don't know, a good example of
it's like Jerry Seinfeld and Larry David.
Met Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
What was that, Asterios?
It was like when Einstein met Oppenheimer in that one scene of Oppenheimer.
Yeah. Nico's hat flew off and then she picked it up for him.
Yeah.
And then you were like, what did she say to her? What did you say to her? And then she's walking away all
something about
pissed
Christian.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, they both like because we had Nico on the Loudest Podcast eventually, and then they were both in the same like anime RP chat rooms, both pretending to be like her, like Sesshomaru. Like they were both, it wasn't like, oh, they have similar interests. It's like, no, they're the same person. Yeah, so some Rancho keeps saying like, keeps talking about, now please don't tell me what this is. Because she says, no, we have to save it for the next episode of the Loudest Podcast.
All right.
Let's see if
she
we know
keeps
what
talking about something called Skibidi Toilet.
Okay, I know what that is.
Grant, have you heard of it?
I've not heard of it. No.
Okay.
I try and be as offline as I can handle.
Really?
You know, I'll be honest, I try and use the internet for as good as I can.
That's incredible. So you did at some point realize like it was hurting you?
I try and use it for the powers of good. It doesn't always happen, but I have a superhero complex where I'm like Neo. I go, these letters and numbers that are flying through the air, they're green and weird looking, but I'm only going to use the good ones.
Was there like a point, like were you up on your phone till 4 a.m, like just doom scrolling, and then you were kind of like, I either need to put this down or pick up a gun?
No, I mean, I feel like I've always had this urge to just like, I don't know, be a good person. I don't know. No, I don't know. There's like a level to like there. I feel like there's like a utility to the, like, honestly, I think here's where I'm at with it. Okay, Asterios is chugging some beverage in preparation for what I'm about to say, because I guess I don't really think about it that much, but there is like a certain level to which like you think this widespread information highway that we have, like you see it and you're just like, this could be such a useful tool for breaking people out of, like, you know, you think of all of history and it's like, history, that was pretty bad, right? Maybe we can turn the tide. Maybe like we can get rid of these bad things that exist, right? And then you see the types of things that get popular on the internet, and it's the exact opposite. It's the worst shit fucking possible. And it's like, I think that there's like a subconscious thing where it's like, I don't know, I get too far into things and it's just like, I don't need to look at this shit anymore. Like, I would watch a lot of like Ben Shapiro videos to get angry, and then it's like, I don't need to see this guy's face. I know what he's doing. Let's all watch different shit. Let's all just, you know.
I still feel like I see you post a lot of Ben Shapiro stuff.
Yeah, I didn't say that I'm good at it.
But he's trying.
I said that I'm trying.
Okay. I don't mean to dismiss your progress. I apologize.
I mean, look, I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, so it's like, all right, Ben Shapiro. Who even knows if you saw the Barbie movie? But he's like, I know if I make fun of the Barbie movie, it'll do numbers.
Four videos about the Barbie movie.
Yeah, because the first, yeah, exactly. Like and then all these people are on Twitter dunking on Ben Shapiro, dunking on the Barbie movie, and I'm like, yeah, you know that's what he wants, right? Like, you know, he's like, what he really wants is attention, and that like every time like a liberal like makes fun of his take on the Barbie movie, like he gets stronger somehow.
I mean, his views go up, and I think we talked about on the last episode that we recorded, he may be the most popular podcast.
Oh,
period.
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, you know, he's whatever. He's a sacrificial lamb for the greater good of the, you know, National Republican Party.
Where is it? Where is his show now? Is it on the Zeus Network?
Yeah. But you know, there's that level where it's like, I don't know. I'd rather use the internet for maybe learning some things. You know, sitting my ass down and listening for once. You know, if you catch me.
Well, fucking good for you. I'm
doing my best.
No, I mean, it's I struggle with internet addiction. If there's a problem with my phone, like if I don't know, for some reason, I don't know if I'm like in a parking garage, if it can't connect to the internet, if I don't know if like there's a storm outside and like the internet goes down for 6 hours, I feel like I'm drowning. Kevin, does that ever happen to you where like if your devices don't work for a very small amount of time, you feel like you're going to die?
Yeah, sometimes when that happens, I feel like I'm having a realistic depiction of a panic attack.
Yeah.
But actually, for real. No, not really. No, I feel like... No.
Oh, I do.
No, I was just going along with a meme of that whole thing. But no, I feel like, you know, we had the show on hiatus for a while. There was probably a week or so I didn't even like look at social media. And I think that was nice. That was good. But at the same time, I do kind of like engaging with it to some degree. It's like, okay, I have some useless thought I want to put out on Twitter or whatever.
It's like your journal.
Yeah, it's a journal that everybody gets to read.
This is Kevin without his phone. This is my impression of Kevin without his phone.
I can't wait to see this.
Was that supposed to be like Oppenheimer?
Yeah. That was
okay.
Oppenheimer. Did that show up? Because I didn't make any noise. Is that going to show up on the Zoom?
I mean, it came up a gag that will only make sense for those watching. But yes,
if it showed up, I don't know.
It did. Great.
Wait. La 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 la.
No, it did.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
Can you guys tell we just saw Oppenheimer over the weekend?
Was it your guys' show that said no? Whose show? So I was listening to a podcast and they were like, "It's Drake, it's Josh from Drake and Josh who pushes the button, right?"
That wasn't us, but like I had that thought during the movie. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
He does, yeah.
But takes
no,
you out
I don't
of it
think
a
we
little
said
bit.
it. Yeah, because we saw it yesterday. So
yeah, it's like, isn't this the last guy you want in charge of this button because he's like a fuck up? I mean, I guess he's less of a fuck up than the other one.
Yeah.
Better him than Drake.
yeah,
I suppose, especially given Drake's recent activities south of the border.
Yeah.
Like, was the little girl the smartest one? Was that the gag in Drake and Josh? Like the little girl was right.
I didn't really watch it that much.
I didn't watch that.
I feel like
I was too old.
Yeah, I think we were just like a little bit too old. Like I saw it in passing a few times, but it was definitely like just a hair under like where we were, I think, at that age when it came out. I'm aware of who Drake and Josh are, and that's about it.
Well, it's weird because I feel like I feel like I was too old for Drake and Josh, but wasn't the younger sister than iCarly, and I feel like I remember watching more iCarly than Drake and Josh. Like I was just like at that transient age period. Maybe they were also like geared towards like people of a certain age or whatever, and then you age out of one and you age into an. I don't fucking remember.
I don't know.
No, but she was because to my generation, it's the little girl from School of Rock.
Yeah, that's where I knew her from. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, that's iCarly and Miranda Cosgrove." I watched almost all of iCarly for the first time ever last year. Because I was like, all these people keep talking about iCarly and Sam and Cat.
That's fair.
And I was like, let me see what the hell they're talking about.
Well, because what's her name wrote that book, right? Her tell-all.
Jeanette McCurdy.
And everyone liked it.
Yeah. And then I'm like, I'm watching this and I'm going, no, this is really good though. These are very well done. These television shows are very well done. They're very relaxing to watch. I know that showrunner is like a monster, Dan Schneider. Yeah. But like, it's, what are their names? Yeah. Like they were a bunch of monsters in Operation Paperclip. But we went to the moon. So the results speak for themselves. And, I'm watching it and I'm like, oh God, this is great. This is great. I'm sorry. What did you say, Grant?
No, nothing. Continue. No.
Are you sure you don't want to double back and go harder on that reference I made?
No. I was going to call the reference into question.
You
but,
were? Well, that's what I'm saying. We can tease it because if there's one, it will bear scrutiny and it will become funnier as we dissect. I guarantee it.
I don't know if that's true. I mean, you're the professional. So Asterios, you worked Mad TV. You wrote a couple books, right?
I wrote I didn't write for Mad TV. I wrote, but I was I was the researcher for Mad TV, which is crazy because you might think to yourself like, what? Why would they? What do you mean they need a researcher? Like, what
that's
the fuck
what I did
are they
for
researching?
Yeah.
Like my at Mad TV, it would be like I remember this very specifically. What's her name? Britney Spears was driving a convertible with her baby on her lap. And it was like, so they wanted to make fun of that. So like I had to find like the exact make and model of the car so they could rent that car. I had to like find like super high resolution photos of the dress so that Wardrobe would get the dress. Photos of like Britney Spears speaking in or around that period so the actress could do the impression. Like Props was in charge of getting the baby. So I had to like send a bunch of photos of the baby to Props. And so like that was what I did for Mad TV for a couple of years. Was it similar at The Onion?
Yeah, like I was there for like, I mean, this is like an internship like a while back, but I would have to like research like how exactly things look because it was like so pitch perfect and stuff. And at the time, they were working on a fantasy football spoof show. And there was a bunch of fantasy football shows on TV at the time. So I had just go into work and watch hours and hours of fantasy football shows and like take a note of like how they talked, what they wore, how the lower thirds were in the bottom of the screen, how everything looked, and just get examples and just put together this packet. Be like, okay, this is exactly what you want to do if you want to make fun of a fantasy football show on ESPN or Fox News or whatever.
No, yeah, that it sounds. Yeah, I would have to do that all the time. Like back then, I would have to watch a show on TV. Like if they were going to do a parody of MSNBC, I would like watch a couple hours of MSNBC, record it onto a VHS cassette. Then I would plug that VHS cassette into a VHS duplicating tower, and I would put like 10 blank VHS cassettes into a bunch of other VCRs, hit play, hit record, wait, print up a bunch of labels on an inkjet printer, and then hand deliver those VHS cassettes to people.
What year was this?
This was the year 2000.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, like halfway through my gig, we got the ability to burn DVDs, but they were very expensive to burn.
At that time, sure, yeah.
So I had to be like very careful. And if I ran out of DVDs, I had to go beg like a lady named Marcia for more. She'd be like, "You're killing me with these blank DVDs." I'd be like, "They stopped burning halfway through and I don't know why."
So what happened after your time at Mad TV? How did that come to a close?
Oh, I walked off during the very first writer's strike. I felt like it wasn't cool to cross the picket line. And so,
hell yeah, our principled king, Asterios.
And so like I quit or got fired. I think I told the unemployment office that I got fired. Yeah. But I walked off. And I picketed for a long time, just because I thought to myself, like, yeah, if the writers, there was, I don't know, the year 2003, 2004, I was like, the internet is coming. And if the writers like can't find a way to like duplicate the residual model in the internet space, I'm not going to be able to like make a living as like a television writer. And then like, lo and behold, the writers like quit striking. I think they were on strike for, I don't know, 6 months or a year. And unfortunately, back in 2003, 2004, it was like, that was not long enough. Like they eventually kind of like folded because like people need paychecks and it's like Hollywood has more money than you do. Yeah. And like they had to fold. And now we're in like this thing where it's like, well, Netflix won't tell you how many people watch the show. And because they won't tell you how many people watch the show, there's no number to draw a residual off of. So it's like all the stuff that people like were striking about like back in 2003 is like they didn't get the job done back then. And now, unfortunately, I think they're going to have to strike for years. And if they don't, I don't think you're going to be able to make a living in entertainment as a writer. Like
it's brutal, man. It is brutal.
I think it's do or die right now. I think it's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a Trotskyist. Perpetual revolution. It's just always got to be doing it.
I was like gonna wait for you to elaborate more.
Yeah, I wanted to like.
That was the rest of it. That was all of it. I have no more.
I didn't want to jump. That's the thing. Whenever I come on the show, I jump on literally every word. Every word.
We could have used you right there, man. I'm trying
to lay out. I'm trying to lay out a little bit. I don't want to overtalk you guys.
I live for moments like those. Those are my favorite moments. I love creating space like that because that's one of my favorite things is when you go to like a comedy show and like someone's like up there and they're not very funny and everyone's just like quiet. And that's like I love that so much. And it's hard to replicate because like there are some like anti-humor comedians that go up and their whole thing is like, I'm not going to be funny. And people laugh and laugh. And it's like,
y'all didn't expect that.
I love not being funny and then no one laughs. And I derive such like a sense of pleasure from it because I love seeing it. And nobody does that. Yeah. I'm fucked. I'm fucked in that.
Asterios, you wrote a couple books as well. Let's talk about those.
No,
I know this is probably
actually,
fucking like annoying as shit. We're doing this like backstory.
What are you talking about?
Well, you know what though, because you were an inspiration for me in writing. I remember like years and years ago, before we ever started Thought Cops, I would message you for advice because like, you know, I do writing now, and I would be like, hey, where do I get gigs for stuff? I'm trying to like get, and you had like, I think you were doing Something Awful at the time and a bunch of other stuff. And I was like looking for like different outlets and places I could write, because at the time I just kept submitting to Clickhole over and over, and I kept getting rejected, or The Onion or whatever. I think it was somewhere around that time. But yeah, I mean, I saw that you were putting out books, you were actively having stuff written for websites and stuff like that. So I'm just interested in like, you know, the idea of like getting your own book made, because Grant's writing a book himself. I mean, like I write for websites, but having a comedy book all on its own would be a dream come true in some regard.
No, I mean, I got incredibly lucky. Like I have such like anxiety and inability to function. It's so difficult for me to like do anything. Like I'm running out of pants because like my pants keep getting holes in them and I'm not replacing them. I have one pair of pants now, and it's like, oh yeah, I know where to get pants. Like, that's not the problem. The problem is like the will. But I was incredibly lucky. My college comedy writing partner started a publishing company that got subsumed by a larger, more successful publishing company. And so because someone else did like everything for me, like I could pitch my buddy books and then write books for my buddy. But I remember this one time, like this dude emailed me like the email address of you know, they're like, oh, this is a big guy, this is a big publisher, like you should send him some of your pitches. And instead of doing that, I went to sleep, and because it was easier than the idea of like trying to achieve any level of success. And so yeah, like you know, and look, when it comes to websites and stuff back then, I think it was easier, you know, to like I was doing improv and stand up and sketch, and so people you'd meet someone and they'd recommend me to this and recommend me to that. But Kevin, I remember one time you asked me for advice on your resume, and do you remember the advice I gave you?
You sent me back a very, very long, this was like a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, because I sent you advice like 2 years ago, and then 1 year ago, you wrote me back saying, I'm sorry I never wrote you back.
Oh, no. That was like, it was a few months ago I wrote you back, because you got to me, because I remember like... I don't want to go too much into my job situation, but I had a job last year. I remember like you emailed me back advice on my resume like the week after I got that job.
Oh.
And I was like, well, I got a job, and I forgot to respond because it was all hectic and I was starting a new job. But then I got fired from the job later on. And then I was looking for jobs again, and I just was like, I would refer back to your email when I was updating my resume like since then. And I'm like, I should probably respond to this, you know? Because I never did. So I'm like, hey, I just want to let you know, thank you for doing this. I still use it.
No, listen, I just assumed that you found all the advice offensive, because the advice I gave listeners was, I said, make up a shitload of lies that are impossible to confirm or deny. I was like, Kevin, here's the thing. You'll never believe this, but comedy websites go out of business pretty regularly. And then no one's paying for the URL or the server, and then all the work goes down. So I was just say that you wrote for Funny or Die. There's no one to call. Like, they can't call the Funny or Die offices. That's like a Spirit Halloween now.
Yeah, it's just such it's a shame how that happens, though, because it's like, I remember... like when I was doing The Onion, and a lot of people would go on to work at Funny or Die. Like that was like, oh, you start at The Onion, then you go up to Funny or Die. I remember I'd go out to LA, and people were getting all these good gigs working at Funny or Die. And then it's like, what the fuck happened?
You know what? I think I actually may know an answer for this. I think that like a lot of these websites and companies in general, I think that they operate as though they're like tech companies, you know, and there's like this like tech bro culture that like sort of like subsumes a lot of these companies and whatever, but they run them like a tech company, and they keep spending money and spending money and spending money, and they never turn a profit. And then it's like, oh, but then you can't sell it because it is the product. And then one day they just go, oh, we can't run a company anymore. I think I've heard that from like, I can't remember where I read that, but I read that somewhere, and you're just going to have to take my word for it.
No, I mean, you know, I think to kind of speak to your point, it's like, Kevin, remember the funnier night I was in LA? They had a big crazy slide that you could go between floors on, and you land in a ball pit. That's the most tech bro bullshit I've ever heard. Yeah. It's like the Google masseuses. I remember one time I visited Twitter, and they had like 3 different kinds of kombucha on tap. And then like Elon Musk was like, I could fire 80% of the people here, and I think this thing would still work. And God bless him, it does. Like, I'm not a huge fan of this Elon Musk guy, but I definitely expected at some point for Twitter to stop working, just from a technical perspective. I'm like, can you fire 4 out of 5 of the people that work for a website and have it not break? And like, yeah, I guess you can.
Barely.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know I don't know how websites work and operate and shit like that. It definitely doesn't work so good, and there's definitely other issues with it that are maybe also not so good. But
yeah, but it's like all the issues with Twitter are political and personality driven. It's like 99 times out of 100, you go to twitter.com and try to like tweet a picture of your lunch. You're going to be able to. And it's like, that was the thing I thought would break. I was like, isn't a cache going to overflow? I always hear about like Stack Overflow errors. Like, I assume that a stack would overflow.
Didn't something like that happen recently, though? Like the post limits and stuff like that? Or was that like an arbitrary thing that he put on there?
No, that did happen. I mean, that's the thing. Like he screws stuff up, and then someone else does find a way to fix it. Like that Stack Overflow thing was because what was it? He didn't want to pay his Google hosting bill.
Yeah,
that was the issue. Like,
he doesn't like paying for things.
Yeah.
Who does? Right, guys?
Right, exactly. There was a multi-billion-dollar Google hosting arrangement, because Amazon has cloud services, Google has them, Microsoft has them. It's that's how a lot of these people make their money. And the agreement was made before Elon Musk bought the company, and so it came due. And Elon was like, "Well, we can't renew this $1 billion hosting agreement." And then I think everyone else was like, you probably should have told us that before today. Because now we're going to have to limit everyone until looking at 600 tweets until we figure this out.
You got to hand it to him, though, because he's, I think, the only person in this position that's doing this job that owns a large tech company. I mean, Twitter used to be the 3rd largest source of traffic, I think, on the internet. I don't know if it still is, but it was. And he's the only person that owns a large website that when the website went down, he went, "What are you idiots doing on your phone all the time? Go outside, go touch grass. There's life out there." And all of his followers were like, the people that are paying $8 right now a month to use the website were like, "Yeah, what are you fucking idiots doing? Listen to the man. He's a genius. He has billions of dollars. Why aren't you outside? You have to look at your fucking phone all the time. You're paying to use your phone." And people are like, what? And you can't argue with them because they just go to the top of the page, and you just go, "I don't really want to be here anymore. This is causing mental damage to me as a person." It hurts.
It's tough because in a space like Twitter, it's like, whoever has the most hearts wins the argument. That's how we're wired to look at it. That's actually to kind of just to change topics real quick. That's why I think Threads is failing and will fail. Not because people didn't come over. I can't look at a feed of this or that. It has nothing to do with that. It's when I post something on Threads, it only gets 1 heart or 2 hearts. And I feel like a failure. I feel I guess I wasn't funny. And it's like, I have roughly the same amount of followers on like both Threads and Twitter. But like on Twitter, which is like run by a guy who like we all hate and think is trash. Like I post a joke and I get a lot of hearts. Maybe all those hearts are from fucking robots. I don't know. But it makes me feel like a special little boy.
Yeah, you're right. You are.
Yeah, and I feel like, I have the same issue with Blue Sky, too. It's just that people are not looking at it as much as Twitter. I mean, honestly, it really is a shame. Like, as much as we used to complain about Twitter, like, pre-Elon Musk.
It was a very useful website. And not just, useful, like, for, like, being, like, a fucking dick online to people. Like, you could do that on any website. But, like, I mean, I feel like a lot of, like, news shit and like weather shit and like a lot of that just doesn't even exist anymore, like because of their like API changes or whatever. Like, you know, a lot of notification shit just like doesn't work. And it's just like, even when you're trying to like read about like something that happened and like read some of like the discourse on it and stuff like that, it's just like all of the blue checks are like straight up at the top. So like the most racist things you're ever going to see in your life and the stupidest, you know, it goes hand in hand. Like they're all just like right underneath any post that goes viral. And I just go like, either the world is this bad and I don't want to live in it, or like this website is just this terrible and I don't need to like look at it, you know? And so yeah, you get the hearts and whatever.
Both can be true.
Both can be true.
No, it's amazing that in my lifetime, it's like, I remember being like, oh, wouldn't it be so great if I got a blue check? I'd feel so special. And now, I would apply for impersonation. I would apply to the thing. Like, I used to work at a big advertising agency that spent a lot of money at Twitter. And I remember, like, I got invited to their offices. They gave me, like, a sweatshirt that had, like, at Asterios on the shoulder. And I remember being...
Do you still have that?
Oh, somewhere, yeah. And I remember being, like, talking to them and being like, you know, we would love it at our agency if you gave me a blue check. Like, I remember like going that far. I wanted it that much that I was like, I'm willing to humble and embarrass myself here. Like, I'm willing to eat a lot of shit and look like an asshole to get this check. And now it's just like the symbol of a dumbass's opinion.
I know. I don't want it.
In the course of months that happened.
I know. It's, you know what always throws me off though is because that only happened on Twitter.
Yeah.
But like Facebook and Instagram, it's still like that, Asterios. You know, like if you get a blue check mark, it means something on those platforms. But then it's like you're like going from one to the other, and like, okay, but blue check marks are bad on Twitter and they're good on Facebook and they're good on Instagram, I think.
It's like I hate
doesn't fucking matter.
I hate to use this as an example, but it's like at the very end, spoiler alert, at the very end of the book 1984, Winston goes, I think 2 + 2 can equal 5. And that's how he knows that he's broken. Blue check mark can be good and bad. And that's how we know that we're broken.
Is there a check mark on TikTok? Is there a blue check?
Yeah, I think so.
I think there is too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I have to say, like, listen, I know TikTok is stealing all my data. Like, I know for a fact it is. Like, I saw it do it once. Like, I logged into TikTok, and it was like, we want your contacts so we can see your other buddies. Hook you up with your friend. And I was like, no. Like, every time I would tell it no, like, I was like very specific. Then one day I get an email from TikTok, and it goes like, hey, we've forced you to become friends with these 900 people like that you like used to go to college with. Like, it just took my data. It just did it. Like, I know it's bad, but something about it is so comfy. I open up TikTok.
It's nice. It's a good website.
It's just, for me, like, my TikTok is birds jumping around and people making clay teapots.
When you put it that way, yeah, it does sound better than like the racist.
Yeah, it's better.
69
it's much
on Twitter.
Better. I get a lot of like fun social justice content, and videos of baby elephants.
What are they up to?
Huh?
Are they like snuggling up to their mom? Are they
They're
like
doing all
trying to learn how
sorts
to
of
eat?
things.
Tell me
They're
things.
doing just all sorts of fun baby elephant things. I learn about that. I learn about indigenous history, women's rights, and then I get some baby elephants as a treat afterwards. Isn't that great, Kevin? Don't
That's
you want to
awesome.
join us?
I was just going to say,
Don't you want
like,
to join us?
I feel like there's been so many times on this show where I'm like, I think I'm going over the edge. I think we're going to start to use TikTok. And then I stop the episode and I'm just like, I'm not using TikTok. And it's something like, I don't know why. I don't know why, really. It's just, I really don't know why. I think I'm just like so overwhelmed by everything else on the internet. And I'm just like, I always come back to like, I don't want to add more. I've already got my hands full with these. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I think the only really interaction I have with TikTok, and it's mostly just I make those like clips from the show, and then I'm like, okay, I make these with TikTok and everything else in mind, but it's like, okay, if you want to just go toss these on TikTok, but otherwise I really don't I don't scroll on there ever.
You gotta scroll, Jerry. You gotta scroll.
I just don't really I don't know. I don't do a lot of I guess I don't really doom scroll as much anymore. Like I do sometimes for sure, but
do you yearn scroll?
Do I ever?
Do you ever yearn scroll?
A little bit, yeah. I think I've just naturally kind of just started to limit how much I use the internet when I'm on there.
You know what
I do check Twitter, obviously, but I'm not on there for a long, long time. Sometimes I do, but then I feel gross afterwards, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm not claiming I figured it out because I sure as fuck have not. But I guess, I don't know. There's just something about the platform of TikTok that just also rubs me the wrong way. I don't know what it is. I think it's just it's so in your face.
Yes.
I think you're scrolling from video to video and it takes up the whole, Twitter, it's you got the tweets are so small on your screen, but then TikTok, it's a big video. Boom, boom.
But here's
boom,
the thing on Twitter, you're reading all these things at once and you're scrolling and you're reading all these things. You're taking all this information. You only get one video. You know, what's wrong? You can't stand to just look at one thing at a time. You know, you can't really multitask.
I think it's also the people I know on TikTok, you and everybody else, I like the stuff you guys do, but then I get other stuff I see where it's people are just I know what you're going to say to this, Grant, but always just lip syncing.
Yeah, you got to hit a do not like. You got to not watch the lip syncing.
In my head, that's what I always think TikTok is.
You got to get rid of that. There's educators on TikTok. People are creating social movements. It's a platform for the mobilization of the working class, Kevin. Permanent revolution.
TikTok?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a communist app.
They're all communist now. It's Twitter
true.
is, well, half of Twitter is.
Twitter's
Blue Sky.
half communist, half Nazi. Blue Sky is a pretty communist app.
Yeah, I guess it's but yeah, most of the stuff I would see come through, it's just some teenager lip syncing to a quote from a movie. I don't know what the movie is. I don't know who this person is. It has 1 million likes on it. And here's the truth of the matter. I think what I want to just drill into at the heart of it all.
Are you afraid you're going to do that? Are you afraid you're going to lip sync?
It makes me feel old. That's what it is. It makes me feel like I'm already out of touch. Because I'm I don't get it.
There's old people on TikTok, though.
There's a lot of old people.
There's a lot of old people, and they make a lot of good videos.
Yes.
I know there is, but I just see so much stuff that I don't understand on whatever level. Because I feel there was over the years and years of YouTube, I've always consumed and enjoyed stuff on YouTube so much, and I still find new stuff I love, but I just don't have that same yearning for that on TikTok.
Some YouTubers have TikToks,
but then it always feels it's boiled down. It's it's cut really fast, and I know this because this is what I have to do with this podcast. It's
yeah.
I have to dumb it down and cut out all this, all the
context,
all the context, all the half seconds of silence. While if we breathe, I cut it out. I have to do this shit and I have to put subtitles on that go really, really, really fast. And I'm like, I guess this is what you have to do now, but I also don't like it. But it also seems to work for us somehow. I don't know.
No, I understand that, like, it is an overwhelming experience, which is why like it's the most popular app in the world. It's like the number one, like we were talking about, like how Twitter used to be number 3. Like the number one source of internet traffic is TikTok. Like it's beating Google, it's beating everything. Cause it's like, well, you'll never believe it, but kids want to be overwhelmed. They want a million pieces of content as fast as possible. There is the curve to TikTok is that you have to spend about a day, like with me, and please stop me if I've told you guys this story before. Like, with me, I open up TikTok and it is clearly looking through the camera at me. And the app is like, oh, there's a 40-year-old man looking at this. And so TikTok starts out of nowhere serving me like young girls like in lingerie talking about how much they want to bang older men. Like there's this trend where they'll be like, dun, 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 ding, 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 dun, dun, and like a girl will just point at different things. And at the top, it'll be like, ages of the men I want to date. Bump, 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 B, 39. Bump, 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 45. And she'll just be like in her panties and bra. And it's like, this thing, no, I didn't put in anything. I didn't follow anybody. I didn't search for anything. It was just like, you're probably a perv.
It's learning.
It looks weird.
It knows. It's learning.
This is like some MK Ultra kind of shit. Like this is not selling me on it. Like it just knows how to like overstimulate you in the exact worst ways possible.
It's
like, you gotta check it out. You gotta see it.
But here's what I'm trying to get to. Then I told it, I did exactly what Grant said. I said, not interested, not interested. I spent about a day saying not interested, not interested. Now clay teapots and birds jumping around to 90s hip hop.
Okay, and this is what, yeah.
It's so nice.
And this is what Grant has told me this too, where you just have to get over the curve of it being bad, right, Grant?
Yeah, I mean, you're fed just like the default, like this is what's popular sort of shit, and then over time, like you get less and less of that, and you form your little niche. It's sort of like have you seen the Black Mirror episode, The White Christmas?
I don't think so.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
That's the best Black Mirror. Have you watched any Black Mirror?
Yeah, I've seen a few of them.
So that's the best one, I think, probably. But I guess I can't tell you if you haven't seen it. But I'll just spoil it for you. So like they create like little miniature clones of people called a cookie, and it's a little like iPod looking device, and it's you. They implant a chip in your brain. After a couple of weeks, they take the chip out, and then the chip is you, and then it does everything you want. You put it in your house, and it makes your toast the way you want it, turns your lights on when you want them on, turns your lights off when you want them off. It plays whatever music you want because it's you, and you know that that's what you want. That's what TikTok is. It knows what you want.
Yeah, but I feel like that was written with the intent of like, this is bad and scary. Was the takeaway? I haven't seen the episode, but it doesn't sound like the takeaway was like, isn't this cool?
I'm a little fuzzy on the details.
It was probably like, this is supposed to be bad.
Well, I guess you'll have to watch. I mean, Christmas is coming up soon, so
it's right around the corner.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah, no, there's like, I understand, like, also not wanting one more thing. You know what I mean? Like I totally get that. I just, I like it a lot. It's not as like fighty as Twitter. But then again, I think the interesting thing is because Blue Sky and Threads aren't as fighty, then people are like, well, then there's no point. Like if I can't,
I totally get that. Yeah.
It's like I'm looking for a little conflict simulator on my phone. Cause like when I'm fighting with people on Twitter, I'm not focusing on my own problems.
Yeah. It's so much easier.
Yeah. It's like, that's why people spend all day dunking on Ben Shapiro. It's like, it like your tweet might blow up. You might get like 10,000 hearts, and then you feel like you accomplished something. And it's like, could you have spent all that time like writing a book? Yeah, but that's hard. It's easy. Bet you're a dumb.
It's like, even like, I mean, I know you could even say that, but it's even something as simple as like, I could also just like play a video game instead of going on TikTok, or just like get through like something that feels like would have like more meat on the bone for me, I guess.
Do you guys have,
I don't know.
Do you guys have Steam Decks?
No, I don't know.
It's so cool.
You have one?
Oh my God. Yes. I got fired from, a tech startup. It it was done in the nicest way possible. The CMO like calls, like all of a sudden I get a calendar thing, and it's like, well, urgent 1 p.m. meeting with the chief marketing officer of the company. And I get there and I'm like, I think I know what this is going to be about. And she's like, yeah, look, you're fired. But here's the thing. You didn't do anything wrong. I am also fired. The entire marketing department is being laid off.
Oh
They're like, all of us are gone. I was like, yeah?
Was this the job? Because I remember on one of the loudest podcasts, and this could have been 5, 10, 15 years ago. I don't remember the last time I listened, but I remember like one of them you mentioned like you had a habit of like applying for jobs and asking for ridiculous amounts of money, and sometimes you would get that. Was that one of these?
Yes. They gave me a ton of stock options because I gave them they gave them a number that I shouldn't have gotten. And then they were like, well, what about 20% less than that? And I was like, that's how this works? Like, it was that job. And then we all got laid, the entire marketing department got laid off, unfortunately, but they gave me 2 months of severance, which had never happened before and will likely never happen again. And so I treated myself to a Steam Deck. It's the coolest thing I own. Because I'm guessing you guys are like me, like you're not playing like big AAA releases that like need 60 frames a second. Like you're not playing the new Call of Duty. You're playing a lot of like indie games and smaller games. It's like the Steam Deck screen is huge. The Steam Deck has 14 buttons on it, which is so nice because it's like, I didn't even know I needed this many buttons, and I do need this many buttons. The battery lasts forever, and you can tweak the shit out of it, like with an Android phone, where you can be like, if I set the frame rate to 15, and if I turn something called screen tearing off, this battery will last for 24 hours. I have no idea how. Like, you can like do a little slider thing and slow down the processor. So like the thing, you can make it last forever. It's real fucking cool, this thing.
Yeah, I'm still on the Switch and the PS4 right now. I haven't gotten one yet. I played one once. Thing's huge.
Yes, you could kill a hobo with this thing.
You really could.
Like, it feels like a more. It feels like a. I know this was like probably how they were marketing it, but like it does feel like a Switch for grown-ups. Like it's bigger, it's bulkier, and it's like, I don't know about you guys, but like my Steam account is 19 years old. So like,
I don't really like PC game, honestly. Like I've always just been console, but the Steam Deck was where I was like, this would be perfect for me because I don't have a PC that can, like, my laptop is what I do all this on.
Yeah.
I don't have a PC that can do all that right now, and the Steam Deck seems like that would be the answer for me. So
yeah, it's just a really nice little computer. And the thing is, it comes with Linux, and you could very easily make it run on Windows. Mm-hmm. So like if you want, you can like be on the bus, like editing clips on your list. Like you could install Premiere on it, and you could like do your work on the go if you want to destroy all of your free time and constantly monetize even your rarest solitary moments.
That's the move. That is the move. Before we move on to our listener voicemails, though, I want to give a key to the city out this week. There was an animation that came out recently I was a big fan of. Do you guys know this YouTuber called Speedaroo?
No.
Speedaroo.
No.
He did this. Let's see what it was called again. It's called like. Should be able to find it pretty quick. It was called. Should have had this written down.
Is it the
Punch Forever
kangaroo guy, and you dunk the thing in the cream sauce and you eat it?
No, close. It was just a YouTube animator called Speedoru,
Okay.
and he put out this cartoon called Punch Punch Forever.
Also, not Dunkaroos.
Dunkaroo.
Okay.
No.
Completely different etymology.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
No, this is Punch Punch Forever. It's like I'm all about like independent animation stuff, and this was something I saw recently that I was just like, this is so cool. It's like Flash animated or homemade animated, but it's made to look like it's a 90s VHS like anime subtitle video. But it's an original cartoon, very cool. It's only 8 minutes, and there's also a cameo appearance by I did not know this was in there, but there's a cameo appearance by a certain friend of the show who's been on here a few times. A live action appearance by him. So if you want to find out who it is, check out the video. Punch Punch Forever.
Okay.
I'm watching Punch Punch Forever right now. This is beautiful, and it looks like it took forever to make. Like this, this is awesome. It kind of like the animation kind of looks, I don't know why the character design kind of looks like the Shovel Knight kind of people. Like, but
they're little chibi looking little dudes. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is fantastic.
Yeah, I think this guy was like, I think he might have been like a Newgrounds animator at some point, but like, it's a lot of those people who were talent from that era who have like kind of gone on to continue their craft and like put out stuff that is like really, really cool and like super cutting edge. And when I mentioned like I'm still finding new stuff on YouTube or like groundbreaking stuff, like this is like one of the things I've seen most recently that I was like very impressed by.
Well, you could have seen this in the form of a 15-second clip on TikTok, so Yeah,
with like it's just cuts in the middle of the screen where you have to back and forth. Yeah, I'm really missing out.
You could, if you want, you could watch this animation and then watch like an incredibly poorly green screened femcel talk about why this is hurtful.
Exactly. You know what? I'm sold. I'm in. I'm in. Anywho, anyone else got a key to the city?
Yeah, I'm going to give my key to the city to DraftKings. So
do they need it?
I'm in bed. They have so much money. I can't believe it. I'm in bed with Rancho, and I'm like, let me see if this thing's legal in Massachusetts, and it is. And so I quickly register for a Massachusetts DraftKings account, and they made it so easy. They were like, you don't have to give us anything. Here's $50. Put it in these slot machines, and anything you win, you can keep. And so I put the $50 into Gordon Ramsay's Hell's Kitchen slot machine, and he's saying things like, "Oh, this won't do." When you get a result you don't like, and then like his flaming head turns a bunch of failed symbols into wild symbols. And then at like some point, like I did a spin, nothing came up, and he went, "Oh, this is rubbish." And then a bunch of knives flew at all the bad symbols, and it's clear Gordon's throwing these knives. And then I ended up walking out of there with $33. It was sent right to my bank account. No muss, no fuss. Thanks, DraftKings.
We don't even have them as a sponsor yet, but now we can get them. If you DraftKings, if you're listening, we're doing it for free. If you pay us, we'll do it. See how good it was? We can do exactly what Asterios did. DraftKings. DraftKings. Is it .com?
The more I say something about your guys' reaction is making me think that you might be worried about my growing gambling addiction. Because I say these things and you guys have these like faces where you're like, I'm going to see if I can hide the horror I'm feeling.
I think that's just the sunglasses. I'm always hiding the horror that I'm feeling.
Watching a man flush his life down the toilet. One DraftKings slot machine full at a time.
If you look directly into his glasses, you can actually see your own reflection doing it.
Damn. I guess the Black Mirror wasn't the phone. It was Grant's glasses.
Whoa.
I think these are actually a little tinted pink, maybe. Pinkish, greenish. I don't know.
They're very cool. He's got heart-shaped Lolita sunglasses, listeners.
Thank you.
Grant, you got a key to the city? Do you want to talk about FanDuel?
I've been reading. No, I don't use those sites. They're beneath me. No, I'm kidding. It's not. I don't use them, but I don't have a lofty sense of self. And perhaps that's because I've been reading Fight Club, the book. Did you all know that was a book?
No,
I read that book a long time ago.
So I've been reading it because I'm writing a book, and there's, some like mental, like, ooh, that type of shit going on. And I'm like, let me read Fight Club. I've never read Fight Club. Written very well, I gotta say. So, key to the city.
Toxic masculinity, folks.
It's very, like, I don't know. Obviously, it's been out for a while, and there's been a lot of discourse on it, but it really is crazy to me that everyone was like, yeah, this is the quintessential dude bro movie. And it's like, you read the first couple pages and you're like, this is like the gayest thing that I've ever read. And, turns out, the author's a gay man, and he wrote it about his struggles with like heterosexuality and whatever. And you're just like, how did everyone not get that immediately? I guess we're all repressed in our own way, aren't we?
We're all very stupid, I think.
We're all very stupid.
I think it's unfortunately, it's one of those things like I don't know. For a while, I loved Rick and Morty, and then the fans were so terrible that I was like, well, I don't want to be like you, so that's it. It's like, I remember like going on to see Fight Club and really enjoying it because like as a kid, I liked Edward Norton as an actor, and it bombed and no one talked about it. And then I went to college and the worst people I knew loved Fight Club. And I was like, oh, this is unfortunate. I can't like this anymore.
Yeah, it definitely, because what came out in like 1999.
Yeah, it came out in 99. Yeah.
I think it like had like a second life like a handful of years later on. Because I remember when I was in high school, like later than that, I was like, people were like, oh, you got to see Fight Club. You got to see Fight Club,
Yeah, there was that was like a weird thing that was possible at the time where a movie could bomb, but then do so well on VHS. Like that's what happened with Austin Powers. Like I worked at a video store and everybody just kept renting Austin Powers. And I was like, well, then I should watch it. And I did. And I was like, oh, this is really funny. And so like that movie was a huge bomb that went on to like spawn a sequel that has like Tom Cruise in a cameo. Like it went on to make like so much goddamn money.
And I will say, like, I think Fight Club is like a great movie. Like there's so much good. And like, again, like, I think that comes from, you read the book and you're just like, I think aside from the ending's different, but like so much of the source material is like spot on. I mean, they ripped the script like straight from the book to even like the quotes of the, like the dialogue and stuff like that. But it's just like, no, it's like a legitimately good book. It's a legitimately good story, and it's a legitimately good film. And it's a shame to see it like so maligned and so misunderstood. And I think we're turning the tide on it, but it's still, it's still a red flag.
There's a bit of a, oh yeah, it's a red flag book or movie. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
No, but it's still it's like the author is a gay man that wrote about his experiences with masculinity, and it's like that should be enough for people. Like, stop, let him have his story. He's valid. Speaking
of being enough for people, let's get to some listener voicemails. Our number is 312-788-7361. You can always send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com as well, or you can always send us an email. We'll read your question on the air. But this week, we're going to listen to some voicemails we got. So without further ado, let's hit it.
Hello, Thought Cops. Holy crap, is that Asterios Kokkinos? I have a bone to pick with you. You want to call yourself the loudest man on earth? I am the loudest man on earth. You have a podcast called The Loudest Podcast, more like the quietest podcast, since you hardly can keep a regular schedule anymore. You have to have no life to have a podcast. Lucky for me, I have no life. But I know I have responsibilities in life. That's why I can't do my podcast about talking about burgers. If I had a podcast, I could never run out of stories. Like the time I bet Twitter and changed the name to X69 because funny sex number and the letter X is so cool. I challenge you to a match at SummerSlam, Asterios, and I will be the one who will end your 6-year undefeated streak.
I feel like that Peter AI voice is getting like worse and worse each time. Because he's called in a few times, and I feel like he's just consistently more and more out of breath as he's talking.
He's tired. You don't get out of breath when you're on the phone. I get out of breath sometimes. I forget to breathe.
I mean, but that's like really bad though. I'm kind of worried about him. I think he's got
I
COVID.
mean, you should be worried about Peter Griffin for a lot of reasons. Yeah.
I know, we all are, but you know what? If he's not going to, we can't change him. He has to change himself.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth. Oh yeah, I didn't put out an episode of the Loudest Podcast for a month because I was too upset and sad. And then
hey, that's what we did too. For 3 months.
When I heard episode 300, and I heard you guys being like, yeah, we took a break. I was like, good for fucking those guys, because it's like, I don't know. Another thing with a podcast is either it's a huge success early, or it's a thing you like to do. And it's like, if you don't want to do it for a while, you should be able to like not do it for a while and not like feel. It's so crazy. It's like I definitely don't want to feel guilty about a show that doesn't get a ton of listeners. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, if I'm going to feel guilty about anything, it's like eating unhealthy foods, like not exercising, like staying up all, like I feel guilty about these things that like have a real hardcore effect on my life. Not calling my parents. Like I should save my guilt for that. But I don't know, something about the content creation race, you're like, I didn't make content today. I'm a bad person.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, I think that we put it off for a while because it felt like every podcast, they're out every single week. They're there, you know, they will have. And it was like, I don't think we have to do that. We can stop for a while. I think it was a right move. You know, I feel like I'm still kicking off the rust a little bit after not doing it for so long, but I think it was overall helpful.
I think my job search, first and foremost, I think took precedent for probably both of us. And I feel also like, there's like obviously like a mental health component too, where it's like when you're struggling with the job search and when you're struggling with life, you're like, I don't feel like being funny right now and putting that on the internet, so I don't want to. And then I also feel like too, like it gave us like a little bit of time to sort of like, it's like we did season 2 and we did like a couple episodes I think that were like good and going in like a certain direction, and it's like, let's keep like, how can we do this, like how can we do it more, how can we do it better, what more can we do to like change it, because it's like we've done this show for like 6 years now, and it's like I don't want to keep doing the same thing all the time, and it's like we can probably get bigger, different guests on. We have enough chops to, you know, be able to interview people from different backgrounds, and we plan to. So, you know, sometimes you get so used to something and you take a step back and you go, oh no, I need an extra step back because I didn't take a step back for my step back. So, you know. And that's it.
Asterios, want to jump in here because I don't know what to say to that.
Next voicemail?
Oh no, I don't. I do have a jump in. I'm so gun-shy. I'm trying to behave on this episode, but like, no, like my jump in is that like I really like the cadence that YouTube creators have, where they're like, when it's like we don't expect a Red Letter Media, like we don't expect like a half in the bag every week, like. We expect to have in the bag when there's a movie they want to talk about. Or like with like YouTube animators, like we don't expect a new animation every week. Like we expect one when it's done. Yeah. And I think that like that's kind of where I want to personally like go with podcasting, where it's like, I want it to be all right if like an episode doesn't come out for a couple of weeks that people aren't like, did you die? Are you dead?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the thing about podcasting is like, I like, even like, I remember when Cumtown was still going, and if they were like a few hours late, everybody thought that like Nick was dead.
Yes. They fought. They must have had it. They must have broken up.
Well,
is what they thought.
Yeah. And they were right eventually.
Yeah, but eventually everybody's right about that.
Yeah.
I think that, again, unless you're getting paid a ridiculous amount of money or you have like a ridiculous amount of followers, like I don't see the advantage to beating the absolute piss out of yourself. It's not like it's going to make funnier, better content that you're prouder of. It's just my opinion,
I think it, you know, you can make an argument that it probably does the opposite after a while.
Yeah.
And there is like the sense that it's like, yeah, I don't know, burnout's fucking real. And I think that more people are probably aware of that in their own lives and their jobs and shit like that, you know, more and more. But yeah, there's also just that aspect too, where it's like, I don't know, I don't want to just do things for the sake of doing them. It's like, I want to, like, you know, have a reason to do something and then to do it, you know?
I just think there's also just like something frustrating on some level about the nature of like a podcast is just like, yeah, like feeling like I think as opposed to a YouTuber or something like that, you can put out content when you want, but a podcast feels like it has to be a dedicated thing. Like if somebody started the podcast today and put it out like whenever they felt like, it would not, I feel like it wouldn't go anywhere. I think like the reason we have any of the success we do is because we were so consistent. All three of us were so consistent with what we did for a long time.
Yeah.
But then you get to a point where, yeah, it does become like fucking tiring. And then, yeah, like you're like, for what at some point, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's like I want it. I mean, like I want to not feel like I'm talking into a microphone because I have to. Like I want to feel like I'm doing it because I want to. And I think like the people that are ultimately the most successful are people who just want to talk all the time. You know what I mean? Like they want to give their opinion on anything that's happening. Like Ray William Johnson. It's like that guy just loved opening his mouth and like having like a torrent of diarrhea pour out of it. And like, I think that like not having shame and thinking that your opinion is the best and greatest opinion is probably like the key to success in entertainment.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. I think that's a problem. I think I've like attained a lot more shame over the years.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yeah.
uh-oh.
I know.
You know, I mean, some would argue not enough, but yeah, no, I feel like I have more shame and I don't have a lot to say about, because, you know, it's kind of like, and I don't want to go on too long of a tangent about this, but it's kind of like how I feel, you know, I've shit on this before, but like Letterboxd and stuff, like I don't really feel the need to have one, because it's like then I'm watching a movie and I'm thinking about what I'm going to say for my little review.
Yes.
You know, I just want to watch the movie, you know, and like, I don't know, even like I think there's a difference between that and something like, you know, we saw Oppenheimer over the weekend. We're going to review it for Fire Bros, but like, I wasn't like thinking about what I was going to say. I just was absorbing it and then holding on to stuff. I don't know. There's some fine line of a difference there, but yeah, I think I just got like more shame at some point or something where I just like, nobody gives a fuck what I would have to say about this. I don't give a fuck.
I think that there's also like the aspect too where it's like some of this shit is just recreating the space that you would have in real life anyway, or, you know, it allows you to like reach out to different people that live in different like states and countries and stuff like that, and like have these like relationships and friendships and, you know, parasocial friendships with, you know, all these people all over, and you can talk to people about your shared interests and whatever. But it does become like, I feel like I don't want to go all capitalism bad, but there is like that, like things are currency element to everything where it's just like, I want to talk to people about like what my thoughts and feelings are about things, but I also don't want like the source of my opinions to be like, because I'm going to get so many likes. It you know, and that I think comes from the sense of like, well, because if I get enough likes and if I get enough follows, then I make enough money. And, you know, it's all sort of like interrelated in some sort of way. And it's like, there's like a truth to that where it's like, yeah, if the podcast does well, my pockets do well. But also at the same time, it's like, but I don't want that to be the impetus for like how I approach it. I would rather just approach it from like, I want to talk about these things. I want to have opinions on things that I care about, but I don't just want to have, an opinion on every single thing. Like my opinion fucking matters on every single thing. It doesn't. And I don't care about like most things. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that was a sense that, like, you know, to kind of bring us back to where we started the conversation with Ben Shapiro and the Barbie movie. Like, I really get the sense that guy was just like, me talking about the Barbie movie will do numbers. Like
100%.
Yeah. And it did.
Of course it did. But it's like,
he's 40 now. He's 40 and he's dressing up like Ken, and he's made 5 videos talking about Barbie, and it's very, I would not want to be that person ever. That's just rough. It's too much.
But let's hear this next voicemail.
Yeah, let's get to it.
On that note.
Hello, close personal friend Kevin.
By that.
Potential close friend Grant and Asterios. Just calling in with a simple question. Who is your favorite character in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike? Is it Hugo? I certainly hope so. If not, why not? Okay. Talk to you later.
Street Fighter 3.
See you later. Bye.
I did not. Well, no, I did play this one a little bit. I know Grant's chomping at the bit, though. I'm sure he wants to say. I've never
played
you want to say your favorite
Street Fighter games. I don't know.
What do you think, Grant? Are you an Ibuki guy?
Well, I just said I've never played any. Can you not hear me?
No, I heard you. I just didn't. I just want to see how this would bounce off of you.
I don't know what any of these things are.
You know Street Fighter.
No, I've never played Street Fighter.
You know what it is?
But
I know that they fight in the streets. I don't know any of the names of the people.
You don't know.
Yeah, you
Ken
do.
And
you know Ryu
and Blanca.
No. Not off the top of my head. If you say them, I go, yeah, that's them. But if you were to say, hey, list off your 5 favorite Street Fighters, I would go, I don't know any Street Fighters because I don't know them.
Well, you know
I've
how
never
he
met
said
them.
He said potential close friend Grant.
Yeah.
You just blew it.
Well, I think because you texted him back one time.
Yeah,
right?
That's true. And then I went on a show that somebody stopped me from Video Ditch podcast I was on recently.
Yeah, I mean, I would also go on a show. Just
not with that attitude.
No,
it's gonna be like, what's your favorite Street Fighter? I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Well, yeah, you would have to do a different episode.
Then he's gonna you can't just he can't bring up something and then you just go.
No, you'd have to do an episode on Hello Kitty Mountain Adventure, perhaps.
You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's coming to Switch.
Well, my favorite Street Fighter 3 character.
It's like Breath of the Wild mixed with Animal, the Animal game.
Oh, is that the? Yeah, I saw people talking about that.
Yeah.
My favorite character is 12. He is
That's a number, Kevin.
Shape-shifting. He's a shape-shifting white guy.
No, I think you're confused. That's a number. That's not a name of a person.
You should look it up, Grant. You should, or you know what? Better yet, you could yes and it.
I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, there's my favorite, Asterios.
I mean, I like Blanca because he remember when I was young, I love that guy because he jumps on you and then he bites your head. And then sometimes he electrocutes you while biting your head, which is really just adding insult to injury. He's already taking a chomp out of your goddamn skull.
Easy character to use. You just press the one button really fast and he just electrocutes him.
Yeah, I have always been terrible at those, at any sort of combo, which is why I enjoy Smash Brothers, because it's just if I can get my hands on this bat, I don't have to do anything.
You can do combos in Smash, but it's more like you're moving and doing a combo than you're hitting the buttons to do the combo and then you do the combo.
A few characters they did, the characters who came from other fighting games actually have combos in Smash. Ryu, Ken, I should know this. Ricky? No, what the fuck is that other guy's name?
I don't know.
Vega?
No, the guy from Final Fight or Fatal Fury. I can't. Guy with the hat.
Oh, the blonde guy with the hat. Yeah. I don't know what his name
I can't remember his fucking name for some reason. Whatever. You get my point. They have you can do combos, and in Smash, if you do the combos, the attacks do more damage, but you can also just do regular moves too. They do a little less.
I know that hardcore fighting game fans love Smash and are constantly wave dashing and comboing this and chaining that. For me as an idiot, I'm if I can get the Starman, I think I got a shot at this. You know what I mean? Those power-ups really help. It's like if I get the
party
zapper,
game that you can get a little too technical on, but it's a party game.
I get the zapper, I can fucking go across I can cheese you right off the cliff. I get that zapper.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a competitive gamer really at all, so whatever.
Speaking of whatever, let's next voicemail.
Today's episode of Thought Cops was brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper, it's what pussy tastes like.
All right.
Is that true? People are wondering,
I don't know, Kevin. Is it true?
People are wondering, has he never drank Dr. Pepper or does he not eat pussy?
Okay, fair. Yeah.
I'm going to leave that ambiguous.
But, Dr. Pepper, if you're listening, and if you want to throw some ad money, that's what an ad could sound like on Thought Cops. Just throwing that out there.
We'll have somebody else call in and just say, it tastes like pussy.
Yeah. Speaking of somebody else calling in, here's the last voicemail.
Wait. Just real quick. I'm just realizing now, is Dr. Pepper the best one? Is that the best soda? It's like Coke, Sprite, like Mountain Dew, all these others. Like, they're all good. I love them all. Something about Dr. Pepper, though. You get me a nice bottle of Diet Dr. Pepper, and I'm having fun all night. What's your guys' take on Dr. Pepper?
Yeah, I don't really I don't drink a lot of pop because I was a fat kid, and I remember I stopped drinking pop, and I lost a lot of weight in high school.
Yeah.
And I only ever have it any time to this day if it's with a mixed drink because I'm like, oh, that's my little cheat code. I'll have it once
then
in
it's
a while.
healthy. Yeah.
If I make it double bad, then it's healthy for me.
Yeah, exactly. They cancel each other out.
But like a Dr. Pepper and whiskey or something, that's fucking good. Like, that's a good mixed drink.
That's a really good mixed drink, actually. I think
over Coke. I
think yes, absolutely over Coke.
Yeah, Coke's kind of boring.
Yeah.
I think Diet Dr. Pepper is the only diet that tastes like the regular one. It's like Diet Coke and Coke are two completely different substances. Like, they taste nothing alike. I don't know. You guys agree or disagree on that, guys?
I'd say it's closer. I'd say it's probably more tolerable,
I think it's the flavor.
Yes.
Yeah. Because it has a distinct flavor that Coke
has 23 flavors.
Well, there's so many. Yeah, there's
so many.
Some of those are going to come through the diet formula.
I think my favorite soda is probably like if we're going sugar over diet, which we seem to, I suppose. But I think what I would usually go towards if I'm splurging a little would probably be Squirt, but that's not in all the time.
Yes,
sort of thing. That's like you need to be in but when you want it though, it's the best thing. But you don't always want it,
You know what's something disgusting I've noticed lately? How not everybody does this. I've only heard a few people do this, but when people, because you know how there's like Diet Coke and then Coke, I've heard people refer to like the regular one as like Coke Heavy.
Yes.
Have you guys heard that?
I've heard Coke Heavy and I've heard Coke Fat.
Yeah.
I've heard full fat Coke, and it's just like,
that's even worse.
Yes, they both make me feel bad.
Makes me think I'm like drinking like flavored lard.
Yes.
When you said disgusting, I thought you were going to say that what you thought was disgusting was how people in the South put peanuts in their Dr. Pepper.
Are you serious?
What?
Yeah. That's a thing.
I bet that's great.
I mean, listen, I'll try anything, but that doesn't sound very good.
Why are you so sold on it, Asterios?
Because adding salt to anything makes it taste better. Like, so I'm imagining like the salt and oil from the peanuts rubbing off I imagine like that's what you're getting. Like, unless you're mashing the peanuts up into a paste, like not a lot of peanuts going to get in there, but it's that oil and salt.
People in the South are they're on one. They're on the next level.
Yeah, they're on insulin.
Fentanyl?
Here's the next voicemail.
Hey, Thought Cops, it's Shadow Forks. Your
hello.
favorite person that you knew that met the guy who voiced Wario. I'm excited to listen to the episode with this Wario imposter. I had nightmarish visions of the Wario flipping them just last night, and I knew it would become this. Please, Mr. Impersonator, I need to know about your opinions regarding influx.
Well,
You're cutting out there, Shadow.
look, yeah. Look, maybe let's
Is this
pull
on
the plug
purpose
on
or
him.
is this?
I don't know.
Because that's
I
a
think-
funny bit, but I feel like it's not on purpose.
No.
Yeah, no,
It cut out a little.
I think he was generally asking like what my opinion on Wario is, and I just remember playing Wario Land as a kid and thinking, oh, this is the best Mario game. And I played like all of them.
How come you say Wario, but not, you said like you don't say Wario. You say Mario, but you don't say Wario.
The moment.
It's because he's in New York. That's how they say it
But
there.
but Wario should be Wario to him.
I knew the moment I said the
It severely
M-word,
bothers him.
I
by the
was
way.
like-
It severely bothers him.
I was
Guilty.
like, I know I didn't say it right. And I don't even remember how I said it, but I was like, maybe if I keep talking, I can get past. Like, maybe I can
Oh,
build enough buffer.
it's not even the issue that you said Mario like that. It's just the fact that there's not consistency across like names. You know, you said Mario, but then you
No,
said
you're
Wario regular.
I know. No, you're right. And it's like, huh. Da-na-da-da-da-da. We're the Mario Brothers and plumbing's our game. It's like, they don't say Mario. Like, Captain Lou Albano doesn't say, we're the Mario Brothers. He's like, we're the Mario Brothers. I think that's why I say it. Because that was the first human that I'd heard say it out loud with any kind of authority. You know, like that guy on 4chan who was like, well, he never heard the word shoegaze out loud. So he thought it was shoegazy.
It's the exact same thing. It wasn't until, yes, people on 4chan did not know how to say Mario right. But Mario didn't have a real voice until like 1996. There's a lot of ambiguity there.
But to me, his real voice was from the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Yeah, I was just thinking like the games, but I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because because he would go, hey, paisanos, it's the Super Mario Brothers Super Show. And like Luigi would always be like, Mario, we're running out of pasta. Like that's my thing. And so when I saw the Super Mario Brothers movie, I was babysitting my nieces and I was like $25, huh? We'll shut them up for 2 hours. And unfortunately it did. And only shut them up for like 70 minutes. I forgot how short kids movies are. But there's that moment where they reference the song. And I'm like, I'm young again. I love it. A reference just for me. This is so great. And then later I'm like, oh, they got the voice actors from Daisy and from the movie, which I convinced myself that movie was good. The original Super Mario Brothers movie, the one that came out in the 90s.
I know. We had a long discussion.
Watch it.
We had a long discussion in our Discord about this. I said it was not good, but some people were like, no, it totally, because I feel like it's one of those things where everybody did hate it for a long time. Then all of a sudden, and now everybody's like, oh, the new one comes out. And they're like, oh, the old one's better. The old one's good. It's like everybody fucking hated that movie up until like a year ago.
It was like a laughing
comparison.
stock sort of movie.
Yes.
It was one of those like, hey, do you remember it? Watch this. Get high and watch this and tell me if it's a good movie. And everyone goes, no, it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like there's a backlash to the backlash. Like, I'm a kid. I'm like, oh, I have to see this. It's my favorite video game. Like, I remember like teaching my like 80-year-old grandpa who did not speak English, like how to shoot the gun from Duck Hunt and how to jump the jump man. And like, I had like so many formative memories with this game. And then I go see the movie and like, I know I didn't enjoy myself, but I remember being like, trying to convince myself that I liked what I was seeing and that it wasn't like off-putting as fuck. That like Yoshi was like a giant, like Yoshi got put in a machine and transformed into like a screaming monster.
Yeah, that's exactly what the movie is. And there's just like gunk all over like this like kids version of Blade Runner. It's a mess. But I guess, yeah, I think we never got your actual question or the answer to that question was, how do you feel about Wario? You said you like Wario Land as a kid?
Yeah, and then I get Wario Land, and I'm like, oh, this is the best one of these games. Just like putting on hats and dashing through walls and like, and it was the first time ever that I was like, oh no, I want the coins. Cause like, look, you play the Mario games and like, look, you at some point you have so many one-ups that it really doesn't matter. Like, especially with the first one where like you could do the thing in the first level and jump on the Koopa 99 times and you're fine. It's like, usually like I wouldn't die because I ran out of lives. I would stop playing because I got bored. With Wario, like, he wanted the coins so much that I wanted the coins. And I remember like at the end of the game, like it totals up like how many coins you have. And like Wario is like on a throne of coins that keeps getting like taller and taller and taller. And I was like, I got to go back to a previous save and see if I can get my man even more coins. And then I know there's that new game. What is it? Pizza Party, Pizza Man.
Pizza Tower. Yeah.
Yeah. And apparently like someone was like Pizza Tower is like a take on the Wario Land games. And I was
it's like, Wario-like.
And I'm like, it is? I'm like, I played that game and all I know is that the controls are too hard for me to do anything. Like,
did you get that on Steam Deck?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, exactly. Cause it's like, that's how you should be playing with a little joystick and a jump button.
Yeah.
No, I can't. I can only imagine, like, these controls are so complicated. I just imagine them making a small version of me cry.
Do you think that like Wario and his love of collecting coins and the impetus to want to like collect coins, do you feel like that fed into your
greed? Your
interest in we'll just say sports betting?
I got an email like at 11:13. Right now it's 11:19. I got this email 5 minutes ago. It's taken so much effort to not open the email because it just told me whether or not I won or lost a bet. And I'm like, no, be nice to Kevin and Grant. Don't be, because like sometimes when there's a podcast guest, you can hear them clicking their keys and you can hear them clicking their mouse and it's like, I know you're playing Age of Empires right now.
Yeah, we've definitely had that before, but
we've definitely edited out a lot of clicking and clacking.
Yes,
that is the perfect point to end the show. We want to see like let you get your money and everything. But before we let you go, I want to say if anyone wants to give us a call, if that inspired you, our number is 312-788-7361. Or you can always send us an email or an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. Asterios, before we go, can you let everybody know where they can find you and all your good stuff and everything you have to offer to the world?
Oh, no, absolutely. Listen, if you enjoyed listening to me be loud on this podcast, you're going to enjoy my podcast, The Loudest Podcast. It's a show where my far too online fiance exposes me to the horrors of the internet. She's planning a whole skibidi toilet episode and she's telling me like, look, at one point I knew what that was because I read an article about it in the New York Times. And then my brain just pushed that information out of my head. And then all of a sudden we're driving the car and she's like, skibidi toilet. And I'm like, I did. I don't now. And she's like, don't learn anything else about it. I'm going to play you 30 of these videos.
I'm not going to say anything. I want you to just enjoy that on the show. And if people want to hear that, because I'm sure it's going to be interesting, check out The Loudest Podcast.
Yeah. And then also just last thing, just to let your listeners know, because they may also be wondering about this. In my 3-way parlay on tonight's Cincinnati Reds Chicago Cubs game, I bet a parlay is this. It's when you bet 3 random unrelated things to happen, and if they do,
we've all seen Uncut Gems.
Wait, they talk about parlays and Uncut Gems?
I think that's like the big bet that he places, like the final bet.
I don't want to. I heard the ending of that movie and I was like, yeah, I don't. This is.
Well, you better watch it. I think it might.
Yeah, you have to
save you.
Yeah, you have to know what happens at the beginning.
Oh no, I guess that's true. But so I said
not what not to do. Yeah.
I said, I don't think anyone's going to score a run in the first inning. I think the Reds are going to score the first run. And I think that the final total will be an odd number. I hit every leg of my parlay and I turned 10 free DraftKings bonus dollars into 40 real dollars and 40 cents. My bet paid off. I'm going to Fuddruckers.
In the future, we call that place Butt Fuckers.
know. It seems like we could all use a laugh.
I don't know. It hasn't happened yet.
Well, we'll see. I think it will happen sooner than you think, because Idiocracy is actually a documentary. All right, guys, we'll let you go here. Thank you all for listening, and as always, we'll see you on the other side.
See you, Space Cop. I figure if I just say it over.
Just cut me out.